Hi students, today we are going to read My Father's Dragon Chapter 8, My Father Meets a Gorilla. Here's the reading objective for today. You can go ahead and repeat after me. We can read with expression that matches the meaning of the story. So when we're talking about reading with expression, we're talking about reading with feeling, okay? Here's what it says. It says, read with expression that matches the story and how the characters are feeling. So really good readers do this when they're reading a story so that they can better understand the characters' feelings, and if they're reading to someone, so that the listener can also better understand the character's feelings. So we're going to look back at a page from chapter 7, okay? And just a reminder, we know the lion is feeling irritated or annoyed here, right? Because his mane isn't clean and his mom is coming over. We can infer or guess, and remember, infer means to guess, that Elmer must feel scared. I know this because if I were to be approached by a lion, that I would be quite frightened. We can show these feelings by how we read the text. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reread this page, and I'm going to put extra expression into it. I'm going to make sure that there's extra feeling when I'm reading. Okay, here we go. Who are you? The lion yelled at my father. My name is Elmer Elevator. What do you think you are going? Where do you think you are going? I'm going home, said my father. That's what you think, said the lion. Ordinarily, I'd save you for afternoon tea, but I happen to be upset enough and hungry enough to eat you right now. And he picked up my father in his front paws to feel how fat he was. My father said, Oh, please, lion, but before you eat me, tell me why you are so particularly upset today. It's my mane, said the lion, and he was figuring how many bites a little boy would make. You see what a dreadful mess it is, and I don't seem to be able to do anything about it. My mother is coming over on the dragon this afternoon, and if she sees me this way, I'm afraid she'll stop my allowance. She can't stand messy manes, but I'm going to eat you now, so it won't make any difference to you. So as you can see, as I was reading, I was really strong with kind of yelling and being angry and trying to feel angry when I was reading as the lion. And when I was reading as my father, my voice was kind of trembling. It was shaking a little bit to show that Elmer must be feeling scared, right? So we're going to continue to read like this when we come across dialogue. Remember the quotation marks on each page mark dialogue. And we want to practice not just in this story, but in all stories that we read, making sure we're reading with expression. It makes it so much more fun, students, as readers. Okay, here are a couple of vocabulary words for today. All right, the first one is the banyan tree, okay? This is a tree where my father is going to be sitting under, and it has a very magical look. It kind of looks like the Tree of Life if you've ever been to Disney World or you've seen the Disney World tree in Animal Kingdom. All right, now the fleas, they're going to talk about fleas, and those are the small bugs that the dog is itching off. A lot of times animals have fleas, and they're constantly itching, and they're these tiny little bugs, like in that blue circle. Okay? The last vocabulary word is a magnifying glass. A magnifying glass makes things appear bigger, right? It gives us a zoomed up picture. You might have used them during science class, but that's a picture as a reminder. Right? And then over here, of course, I have a little gorilla, since that's what our story is about today. So let's go ahead and get reading. Chapter 8. My father meets a gorilla. My father was very hungry, so he sat down under the baby banyan tree on the side of the trail and ate 4 tangerines. He wanted to eat 8 or 10, but he had only 13 left, and it might be a long time before he could get more. He packed away all the peels and was about to get up when he heard the familiar voices of the boars. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen them with my own eyes. But wait and see for yourself. All the tigers are sitting around chewing gum to beat the band. Old Rhinoceros is so busy brushing his teeth that he doesn't even look around to see who's by. And they're all so busy they won't even talk to me. Horse feathers, says the other boar, now very close to my father. They'll talk to me. I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. The voices passed my father and went around a curve. Then he hurried on because he knew how much more upset the boars would be when they saw the lion's mane tied up in hair ribbons. Before long, my father came to a crossroads, and he stopped to read the signs. Straight ahead, an arrow pointed to the beginning of the river. To the left, the ocean rocks, and to the right, the Dragon Ferry. My father was reading all these signs, and then he heard paw steps and ducked behind the signpost. You can see him in the picture right here behind the signs if you look closely. The beautiful lioness paraded past and turned down toward the clearings. Although she could have seen my father if she had bothered to glance at the post, she was much too occupied, looking dignified, to see anything but the tip of her own nose. It was the lion's mother, of course, and that, thought my father, must mean that the dragon was on this side of the river. He hurried on, but it was farther away than he had judged. He finally came to the river bank in the late afternoon and looked all around, but there was no dragon anywhere in sight. He must have gone back to the other side. My father sat down under the palm tree and was trying to have a good idea when something big and black and hairy jumped out of the tree and landed with a loud crash at his feet. Well, said a huge voice. Well, what? Said my father, for which he was very sorry when he looked up and discovered he was talking to an enormous means really big, and very fierce gorilla. Well, explain yourself, said the gorilla. I'll give you 10 to tell me your name, business, your age, and what's in that pack. He began counting to 10 as fast as he could. 1, 2, 3, 4. My father didn't even have time to say, Elmer Elevator Explorer, before the gorilla interrupted. Too slow! I'll twist your arms the way I twist that dragon's wings, and then we'll see if you can't hurry up a bit. He grabbed my father's arms, one in each fist, and was just about to twist them, when suddenly he let go and began scratching his chest with both hands. Blast those fleas, he raged. They won't give you a moment's peace, and the worst of it is that you can't even get a good look at them. Rosie, Rhoda, Rachel, Ruthie, Ruby, Roberta, come here and get rid of this flea on my chest. It's driving me crazy. 6 little monkeys tumbled out of the palm tree, dashed the gorilla, and began combing the hair on his chest. Well, said the gorilla, it's still there. We're looking, and the 6 little monkeys. But they're awfully hard to see, you know. I know, said the gorilla, but hurry. I've got work to do. And he winked at my father. Oh, gorilla, said my father. "In my knapsack I have 6 magnifying glasses. They'd be just the thing for hunting fleas." My father unpacked them and gave one to Rosie, one to Rhoda, one to Rachel, one to Ruthie, one to Ruby, and one to Roberta. Here are the monkeys with their magnifying glasses. "Why, they are miraculous," said the 6 little monkeys. "It's easy to see the fleas now, only there are hundreds of them." And they went on hunting frantically. A moment later, there were more monkeys appeared out of a nearby clump of mangroves and began crowding around to get a look at the fleas through the magnifying glasses. They completely surrounded the gorilla, and he could not see my father, nor did he remember to twist his arms. Thank goodness, that sounds like it would have hurt. All right. So as always, when you finish a chapter, you need to write a sentence or two about what happened. Leave it at the end of the chapter so you can come back to it later. So you're going to take out either a Post-it or paper, and you're going to go ahead and write down a sentence or two about what happened here in chapter 8. Go ahead and pause the video and unpause when you're ready to see my example. All right, once you've unpaused, here's my example. In chapter 8, Elmer helps the gorilla by giving the monkeys magnifying glasses so they can see the fleas that are always bothering him. This distracts the gorilla and the monkeys, and Elmer gets away. All right, now we're going to go ahead and try some comprehension questions and make sure you understood what we read today. Number 1. What animal threatened to twist the main character's arms like he does the dragon's wings? So mean to do to the dragon or to Elmer. Go ahead and pause this video and unpause when you're ready for the answer. Once you've unpaused, it was a gorilla on page 60. Remember, good readers always mark the page in which they found their answer. Number 2. What did Elmer give the monkeys to help them get the fleas off the gorilla, and how did that help? Go ahead and pause and unpause when you're ready to see the answer. Once you've unpaused, he gave them magnifying glasses so they could see the tiny fleas, and I found that on page 62. Number 3, explain how the main character was freed from the gorilla. Go ahead and pause and unpause when you're ready to see the answer. Once you've unpaused, more monkeys came out of the trees and surrounded the gorilla as they were wanting to try the magnifying glasses. That is found on page 64. Okay? But last but not least, make sure you fill out your reading response sheet about today's reading. And then we'll go and review the objective here. Okay? So today we learned that we can read with expression that matches the meaning of the story, okay? So that means that when you are reading on your own, you need to make sure you read with expression that matches the story and how the characters are feeling. I hope you enjoyed today's story, students, and I look forward to hearing you read with expression very soon. Have a great day. Bye.